I'm going to start working on the circuit board now with all my buttons. These are the buttons that I'm going to use. I'm probably not going to need more than the 12 of them, so I'm going to be taking off some of these so that I have some holes to work with for putting wires in and maybe make a bus for different voltages, something like that. Those are the buttons I'm using. I'm going to take off some of these. So those are coming along. Got 3 off so far. I'm getting better as I go along. Unfortunately, I've been taking away some of the traces, so well, I'll get it to work somehow. Now what I'm doing here is the holes are a little bit filled in, so I just melt it a bit and then whack it on the cutting board here, and it clears them right out. Kind of like shaking water out of a sieve. Maybe I will take another row of these buttons off, just so that we have one row for ground, one row for 1.5, one row for 4.5, and one row for 9. And now that's what it looks like without a bunch of the buttons on there. They're pretty beat up. I'm probably never going to use these again, but I'm still not going to throw them out, just in case. Now for an H bridge, the way I have this wired, I've redone some of the wiring and found a more elegant way of wiring an H bridge. I cut it off so that it's just the one by itself there. And so from the motor, we have ground, a ground wire, a 9-volt wire, and a 1.5 is what I'm going to be needing for this. So the way I've made this one, there's no color standard here. I have the red wire being ground, the white striped wire being 9 volts, and the non-striped one being 1.5 volts. Okay, on my map, I've got a map here of where I want all my buttons to be. Okay, so we have the floodlight. That's going to be just the one button by itself. It doesn't need any power. The radar, I'm working with the radar here. So the buttons that I want for the radar are these two right here. So the radar power is going to be here, so that's going to be the 1.5 volts. The direction is going to be the 9 volts because that's flipping the relay. So let's see what we got here. That looks like it's off to a good start. Anyway, I think I will continue soldering them onto both sides though. When the smoke clears, I have 2 almost nicely soldered joints there. I have put each wire onto both leads just for a solid physical connection. Okay, so the floodlight's going to go there. I'll be able to move these up, make sure that they're out of the way. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, now we've got the ground wire. What I've created here is a bit of a bus. I'm going to do this 3 more times, one for each voltage, but I've done the ground wire there. And then the way it's going to work is, since I I've used up all the holes, I'm going to slip any wire that I need to be for ground, just slip it up under there, solder it in, and make a rough connection. And then this, of course, will get attached to ground. So this way what I can do is I can do all of my wiring and soldering and everything, and then solder everything up, and then the very last thing I do is hook up the actual power to the circuit board, so I don't have to worry about any live power while I'm building. I think that's going to work out. Okay, now I have the buses completed here for the voltage. I've made it so that the closest one is ground, and then it goes 1.5, 4.5, and 9. I have the two wires that need the 1.5 volts and the 9 volts going to my buttons here, like so. And from there, from the other side of them, go to the buses, go to where they pick up the voltage from. And that's it. Like I said, what I'll do at the very end is hook up the battery pack so that it goes directly to these four. And everything else pretty much is going to come off of here. Now, what I'd like to do is set up a test. Okay. So I'm going to have to hook up 3 of the wires here. So we've got the ground. Where's the best place to do this? So we'll get a little tight in here. This one to ground. Do the 9 volts. Do the 9 volts. Let's just see if that makes the directional switch work. Yeah. Wrong button. Can you hear that? Okay, so that means the relay is working. So the other button now, sorry, a bit off screen there. So that's the power button. So that works. And we know that the H-bridge already works because it flips. Alright, that's one part done. I just have to duplicate this for the assimilation tubes. That's next.